Hello.
Good morning, Max.
Good morning. Oh, we are missing a lot of people today.
Good morning.
Maybe, yeah, they will probably log in later. So, how did it work out with the mini project? Good or bad? Or in the middle?
Yeah, middle.
In the middle. That's
Middle
perfect.
and middle.
So I haven't checked yet if everyone has sent in their solution, but we're gonna check this morning. We're gonna do some repeating now, or actually something new also. But we will have 2 days for you to study a little bit with this entity framework, and before we start with something new. On Wednesday, we're gonna start with front end, so it's not C#. So it's a little bit of checking HTML and CSS and JavaScript. So we have 2 days now with still with entity framework. This morning we're gonna check a little bit about Fluent API and data annotations. That's also something that works with entity framework. So I'm gonna share my screen if you haven't checked the schedule yet. You see we are already at day 26. And we have something here named Fluent API and data annotations. So we're gonna have a look on that, what it's doing. There's also a nice link from Microsoft, just like a reference. You could see these different things, how they're working also. And the rest of this Monday and Tuesday we have a check on the mini project number 2, how to solve it, and also you will have some time to repeat entity framework. But let's start with this Fluent API and data annotations, so you see what it is. I have my project here from last week. You know, we were making this menu with adding cars and the full CRUD with cars. So I'm gonna use that project to show you. So we're gonna work with these parts that are with the classes and that are with this vehicle context. So I mentioned before also with this, we're gonna start with data annotations, what it is. So it's actually like, you remember that we said that this ID is automatically, entity framework is looking for something named ID. But you can also manually tell entity framework which is the ID. So you could add attribute, writing like this. Now it's complaining about missing something, so we're gonna fix it. Oh. So it says using system component model data annotations. So we're gonna use that one. So this means actually that I could tell with this attribute key, I could tell entity framework that this property is the one that is the ID in the database. So this means that I could have any name I want here. So it could be, I could have like, yeah, it could be like this. If I have this one like this without this key, entity framework will not recognize it. So it's searching for an ID inside the class. There are some rules for entity framework when it's looking for something that is named ID, or it's something that is named the same as the class plus ID. So if it's ID or a vehicle ID, the entity framework knows how to use it. Someone is having the microphone on also. Did you want to say something? No. So otherwise you need to tell entity framework which one is the key. So by doing it this way, I'm telling that we're using this name instead. So this is one use. Now it starts to complain, but it's because we're using this naming inside our code. So that's why. I'm just going to mention that, and I also mentioned this Fluent API. That's another way to use it also. So you're going to, inside this vehicle context, you can add things also that tells you what, instead of the data annotations, you could use the Fluent API to use the entity framework, how to work. But you need to have something, another override. So this will look like this, protected override. So it's overriding something that exists inside entity framework. And this is called on model creating. On model creating, yeah, something like that. And it will take a model builder as input. Oh, I'm going to show you. So with this, you could also access the same parts and a little bit more. So if I use this model builder here, and I'm going to access an entity, that's, this case, it will be the class. So if I go for car, for example, I could tell that this, now I'm using some lambda expressions here. And entity has key is the way to do it inside here. And you could tell like this, the Visual Studio is popping up with all this help from me that I didn't want right now. So I could do it like a little bit more lambda expressions here. And I could tell inside here also which one is the ID. This is another way to do it. So either you work with data annotations or you work with Fluent API. So this is telling that the ID is the key. So if you had this would be in like another name of the key. You need to tell exactly which one it is. So you just remember what name to use. So these two things, data annotation here says that this one is the key, or this line tells that this is the key. There is also an order about it. So if you have just data annotation way, this will be used. If you have data annotation and the Fluent API, the Fluent API will override everything else. So it doesn't matter if what you have here. So the best way is possible to just use one way. Otherwise, if you start mixing, you could lose yourself on the way. So this is just to show you that these two things will do the same thing. So it's possible to have another name on the property that is used like the primary key inside the database. So there are some other things also. So I'm gonna set this back. So we're not gonna use that. course, when we have the ID as the name, the entity framework will automatically use the ID, but this was just to show that you could use other names also. There are also other things you could use. You could tell that sorry, I had my cell phone on. You could tell, for example, that the name of, let's say for the cars, for example, you could say that, you know, that the table name will be cars. Here you see, we have decided that the car should be cars. But you could add, change that also. You could tell that table should be named cars DA, for example. Now it's complaining about something else about these things. So this line here tells that the table inside the database should be named cars DA. So even if you have this line here, we will only use cars inside the code, but in the database, it will be named this name. So we could actually try this. Let's see what database we have. Okay, let's try to find it.
We don't need to run first add migration.
Yes. I'm going to show you first what the name is, so you see that it's changing. So what could the name be? I think it's this one. So you see now that we have cars and motorcycles, like the name is here. So if we run the code here with this, that we change this one to cars DA now. So we need to run add migration to make this to work. So we just changed it on the code side. So we need to do an add migration to get it to the database. I'm just gonna say cars DA and do it like that. And finally, update database. Like that. So now we have made the changes to the database. So if we have a look here and do a refresh on this one, you see it's named cars now. So I refresh here. And checking the tables, you see that the new name is cars DA. So this is now it's just changing the name of the table. So inside the code, we are still using cars. Oh, sorry. So inside the database, we are still, in the code, we're using cars as the name. So you will see it's not complaining about any of our code. You see, we still use cars. It's no complaints about it. This could also be changed by adding to the, let's see here what I'm doing now. I'm going to copy parts of that. You could also do it from the Fluent API. Let's see what I need to do now. I have this entity to table. Let's see. Yeah. And you could say a name here also. So we could say cars Fluent instead. And you remember that this one is overriding the data annotation way. So if I run a migration on this one, the new name will be cars Fluent. even if we have this one here running at the same time. So let's try it. We do an add migration here. Went. And update. So let's check the database, do a refresh as we cars DA is now. We do a refresh here. It's a little bit slow. And you see now is the name is Cars Fluent. So this is hopefully still having the same information. You see it's our cars we had last week. So this is still working. It's just changing the name of the database table. But the code is still using the same thing. So nothing has changed on the accessing the code. Come on now. Yeah, there it is. And remember that this Fluent part is overriding the data annotation way. So this is always, if it's always overriding the data annotation way. What else? You could also, there's a lot of things you could change and use with this Fluent things and this data annotation. So you could actually have like, let's see here, we could go for the vehicle. Where's the vehicle? Here it is. So we could say that we could change the name of the property that is on the database side. Still same in the code, it would be model, but we could say that it's in the database, it should be named column and then a name, other name on it. So this is telling that the name in the database should be model DA, and inside the code we are using the model. So there could be many reasons why this could be used. So it's maybe not up to the programmer itself, but it's someone saying that inside the database it should have this name. So this is just a way to solve it. So, and again, if I make some changes, I need to make this this add migration, and I'm going to tell model DA instead. And update database. So nothing is happening on this in the code. So the code is still working, but the changes are made in the database. So we do a refresh here again. We check for the tables. We have the cars Fluent now is the name. And we could do a select all here. And you see the column name is model DA now. In the code we are using just model, so you see even if we run this application now, everything is still running. So if I do a read here, you see it will read all the data from the database. So it's still working. It's just the mapping that is changed. So the database having other names than the code is using. You could do the same way with the Fluent API thing also. You could tell that it has, let's see, this is another way to write it. We go to this model builder part again. We have like into the car. I need to check on my notes here. And you could tell that the property, and the property could be like always using these lambda expressions. And we could take the model here, for example, and tell that this has column name and your new name. So I could name it model fluent, for example. Did I have enough of parentheses? Yeah. So this will override the setting that is on. So this will only do it on the car. This setting is doing it on. Yeah, this was the car also. This one is the vehicle. So this will be for both motorcycle and cars because they are inheriting the vehicle. Here with the Fluent, we have more control, so we could set on the separate for the car just. So Fluent way is having much more control. With data annotations, you could do the more simple things. So if we run this one also with the migration, naming the property. And doing an update. Checking the database again here, and now we should get the model Fluent as a name. So I do this again. Now you see model Fluent is the column name now. And this is because the Fluent way is overriding the data annotation way. There are much more things you could do, and if you have a check on the link, this link, today's link, you will see a lot of different things that they are showing. So for example, you see here, there's something called not mapped. This means, for example, it should not be inside a database at all. And it's showing you the data annotation way, how to write it, or the Fluent API way. So you will see the code examples. So this is a great page to watch these things, column names we were doing, the Fluent way and the data annotation way. And there's a lot of things you could do more with it. So we have, we're going to use it later on when we start using this MVC part, doing websites and so on. When we are using Entity Framework, this could be useful with all these settings. So there's a lot of things you could see here, how you could use it, and you could set limitations for the properties that you could set an integer to just have can have a range of values and so on. So please have a look on this one. Do we have any questions otherwise? So this maybe is not useful right away for you, but at least you know about it. Anyone? Any question? So we will do in the afternoon, we will try to do an example of the mini project number 2, how to solve it. Otherwise, try to repeat things inside the Entity Framework, things that you need to know more about, or things that you have missed. So try to catch up with the Entity Framework parts. Any more questions? Is the microphones running? Said?
No, not at this time.
Okay, perfect. So 2 days for repeating now. So focus on the parts that you know you need them some more info about, or something that you haven't have time to run, maybe a Pluralsight video or something like that. So now you will have 2 days for that. So otherwise, see you at 1 o'clock.
See you. Bye.
See you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.